Hey everybody, I'm gonna try to make this quick because I'm gonna get outside and cut the grass and do some yard work. Um, these protests are really disheartening. It's not like me to not want to watch football. Um, this is my favorite season of the year. It's football season. It kills me, but you know what I love more than football? The United States of America, my home, my flag, my country. And I really don't agree with how all this has taken shape. Now, the person who started all this wants to mock the police with socks when you're protesting against police brutality. It's not very smart. I mean, you just turn so many people against you. And then you wear a Fidel Castro t-shirt, a Malcolm X hat. Those two guys, they don't stand for equality in all races. So is that really what you want? Equality? Or are you trying to take over? Because I don't know. Man, in this light you guys see, that's a skylight. I don't have a spotlight on me. I kind of do. It's kind of funny. Um, Nice little touch, right? These protests this past weekend were not about the original message. They were about Donald Trump. Let's just be clear and honest about all this. These guys took a knee because the president called him a son of a bitch. Seriously? You get called worse every time you take the field, throw an interception, throw an incomplete pass, miss a wide open receiver, fumble the ball, miss a tackle. Sometimes when you make a tackle, you get called worse because you're on the wrong team. But the president called you a son of a bitch, and now you're mad. So it's kind of petty. So you kneel and disrespect the national anthem and the flag. Do you have the right to protest whatever you want? Yeah, you do. You do have that right because these veterans and those who can't defend themselves anymore because they were taken from us fought for those rights. So you do have that right. I'm not against your right to protest. I'm not against your message. I'm against your messenger because he's muddying the waters. He doesn't stand for America. So take that how you want, but he doesn't. He's got a whole nother agenda, along with that little girlfriend of his. That's not America. So your issue is with America. That's where you're wrong. America is not your problem. Your problem is with individuals of America. They don't make up America. They don't even make up a full percentage of America. Let that sink in. They don't make up a full percentage of America. These extreme ideas, these extreme values that they hold that are filled with hate. Those are the people that you're protesting. Are those individuals who don't see things the way we see them. Anybody that gets killed unjustly, um, it's it's a shame, man. It really is. It's a tragedy. I don't know if y'all can hear it. My stomach growling. I gotta get some food in me, but man, it really is a tragedy for people that lose their life unjustly. I don't know their names as far as each individual case. I've seen the news. Sorry, I got some of my. I've seen the news, about all these guys. The one that hits me the hardest was the guy that was in the car with his wife and daughter. That that'll never be able to be taken out of his daughter's mind. It'll always be there, and that's disgusting because I wouldn't want my child to have that image. So when I tell you that I understand, it's because I'm a father and that hurts to know that somebody lost their life when they shouldn't have, when they didn't need to. So I understand completely. Not because it's happened to me, not because it's happened to my next door neighbor, because it's happened to another American. And I am American, and I love all Americans. And I want the same thing for y'all as I want for my children. I want you to have all the opportunity that's out there. Sorry. I'm emotional. I'm an emotional guy. And it is a tragedy for some of these cases that, have been brought to light, but it's not an epidemic. We don't see, these, it's not what you're trying to make it out to be. Yes, one life lost is too many. One is too many. Way too many. But unfortunately, that's the reality we live in. Because there are individuals who have hatred in their heart because of somebody's appearance. That deeply saddens me. I've lived in many places east of Texas. We'll just call that, from 30 miles from the Gulf, from 30 miles from Lake Erie. And so I've met a lot of different people through my time moving around, working, living, from all different backgrounds, whether it be a different religious background or a different racial background. I really hate race. There should only be one race, and that's the human race. So I don't like to depict, black versus white versus anything else. It's really kind of ironic because people say, you're, what color are you? You're black or white. Black and white aren't even colors. I was an art person, loved art. Went to college, trying to chase that dream, and they're not even colors. They're hues. We're arguing over pigmentation of skin when underneath the skin we're identical. There's nothing different about you if you have a different skin color or hair texture or whatever. There's nothing different about you once we get beneath that. Which is why this is really hard for me, because you have individuals who have this hatred because of the outside of somebody else. And that's where the issue is. That's the change that we seek. And I say we because I agree with the message that hatred is completely fucked up. And as a kid, I learned this by moving away from where I was from. I come from a small town in Ohio. I only remember there being one black kid in my grade. I might be wrong, but I don't remember any other ones. He only lived a couple streets over. We hung out. We rode bikes and played sports. Because as a child, you don't see color. Most children don't see that unless they're taught that. But then after 5th grade, I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, the only thing I knew about black people really at the time was what I saw on TV. Your athletes, your movie stars, Cosby Show. There really wasn't anybody to interact with myself. Come across people, again, sports figures, when going to sporting events, but when you're not involved with them on a daily basis, you don't know them. You don't know the differences of opinion. You don't know the differences of family. And none of these differences are bad differences for anybody. You eat something different. You watch different shows. You pray differently, if you even call it praying in some of those religions. I don't know. I pray to God. I talk to Him daily. Have I gone to church much? No. I grew up, in a church, but I haven't gone much. I'll come back to that. I do with my parents, as I enjoy making them happy, when I'm with them. I don't all the time, but again, I'll come back to that. But I moved to Charlotte in early 90s. Charlotte was growing huge. I mean, big changes in Charlotte. Population just went through the roof. This was right when they got the Hornets back then. That was pretty awesome. The NBA Jam, the first one, because of the new teams, man, that was great. And there was nothing about color back then. We didn't see it that way. But anyway, back to my point. Where I lived, where my parents found their house, they weren't ready for the amount of kids for the local schools. So I got bused 45 minutes to a different elementary school than the one that was close to me. When I got there, it was a culture shock for me because, like I said, I grew up in a predominantly white town that, it wasn't a racist town. I didn't even understand what race was back then. But I go into school that first day and get to class. 75% of my class was black. My teacher was black. So for someone like myself, you can understand, or you can imagine. Okay, I mean, you might not be able to understand, but you can imagine the shock in myself because I hadn't met anybody my age besides the one kid that was in my school, and again, it's not a bad thing at all. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for moving. I'm so thankful for the opportunity to live in the different states and go to the different schools and meet the different people that I have. That I don't know if I'd be the same person today if I didn't get to see differences, from Ohio to North Carolina to Louisiana, growing up. I've been blessed with the ability to meet people from different walks of lives as they're young, and see these traditions and their heritages in a different light than as an adult. As some people would have, or I would have, if I would have never moved out of Ohio to begin with. So I'm truly blessed with that. And even though I hated it as a kid, because you don't want to move, all your friends and everything. I do it multiple times, and that really was hard for me. But looking back, I wouldn't change it for anything, because again, I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for those moves to different states. So, again, it was a big culture shock for me. But it opened my eyes to, the differences of people. And again, a couple years later, we moved to Louisiana. Another culture shock. Man, y'all Cajuns are crazy. Love y'all, though. Maybe one day I'll be back down again, but for now, unfortunately, I'm up here. I seen hatred down there. We played, basketball in high school in a couple different cities, Vidor and Vinton. That wasn't fun, for us when there was so much hatred in those towns at the time. Again, this was mid-90s, 93, 94. This is, I don't know if it's like that today, but, they weren't very kind. Let me put that out there. They weren't very kind to myself, but more so the friends of mine that played basketball with us that weren't, white. It was ugly. Again, living in all these parts of the country has opened my eyes to a lot of things, which has made me who I am. So nothing I do today is the same way that it would have been if I wouldn't have had these opportunities to meet and learn about different people. I don't agree with these kneelings, because I love my country as much as I do, because I believe in this country, and I believe in the way we have made so much progress already. Now, hatred is a tough thing, because how do you fix hatred? How do you fix somebody's heart that doesn't want to listen? That's the issue that I'm seeing. That's how I see this whole protest. Now, I'm rambling. I'm 16 minutes in. If you got anything you want to ask or anything you want to say, comment. I will comment with you. I will talk with you by all means. Because I know I've probably started a thought and missed it, because there's just so much going on up here right now with all this going on. So by all means, leave a comment, leave a question, whatever. If you don't want to, by all means, you don't. You obviously don't have to. That's your right. Again, it's their right for them to take a knee. But when you have guys like the guy who started it with all his crap, and then you get another guy like Michael Bennett trying to produce a moment of hatred from a cop, it's disgusting, man. You weren't listening. You ran. They did their job and questioned you, and you wanted to lie and say some dude was going to blow your head off. Man, whatever. A knee in your back. Come on, man. I'm disgusted by that, as much as I'm disgusted by the hatred that's out there, because you're creating a false narrative. You're trying to make people join your side. And the whole thing is about justice. Well, you're being unjust in lying about how the Las Vegas Police Department treated you that day. You should really be ashamed of yourself. I've seen your little press conference since the truth came out. Oh, love each other. Yeah, now you say that. Please get off my screen. I don't need to see your words. Your deceitful nature has really, really hampered the message that was out there. Delaney Walker, equal rights. I mean, really, you have equal rights. That's what the laws are written. That's not the issue either. See, the whole message is muddied, but the message isn't muddied from our side. We don't agree with your discourse towards the flag and the anthem. We don't. And that being said, there will be less money coming into y'all. The NFL is non-profit. Well, a lot of people profit that are in the NFL. And when these owners don't have enough money to pay your salaries, because they are so inflated over these last 15 years, then what's going to happen? You guys have to really ask yourself, an honest question. Can you do something besides play football? Because, those of us who wanted to do what you do, but, weren't gifted the way you are, we had to find something else to do. So, maybe it's your turn soon. I don't know. That's going to be up to the American people, not up to me. I won't be watching this year. Thanksgiving's going to be tough, because that's what I always did. But other than that, I can find other things to do on a Sunday. I may watch the Super Bowl just to see if they speak of garbage still in February. It's 4 months away. But I don't even know about that. We'll see. That's time. Again, people can change their minds. People can change their hearts. But they have to want to. And that's the big issue. They have to want to change their heart. So again, I'm not against your message. I'm not against inequality. No, wait. Let me take that back. I am against inequality. I'm not against equality for anybody. I love everybody. just because I don't see you or spend time with you or talk to you when I pass you by doesn't mean I'm different in the way that I feel for you. I'm just someone who keeps to myself mostly. It's not been easy for me to make friends because I don't know where to talk about to a stranger. That's how it's been to me. So how do I open this conversation about anything? You guys have wanted the conversation to be opened about this, so I'm joining in. I'm here. I'm trying to talk. I've tried to talk with people online. The worst that I've heard, this young lady, I'm not going to mention names because, I'm not trying to shun people. I'm not trying to make them, out to look bad. I just never heard anybody say this before, and it's really disheartening. But she said that we are the descendants of slaves that your ancestors couldn't kill. That was probably the most racist thing I've ever heard in my life. And she literally a couple sentences before said it was, white people, because I'm white, that my ancestors had slaves. Oh, no, that's not the case. My ancestors did not have slaves. My ancestors did not come from money. My ancestors, at least as far back as I can follow, I've tried, their ancestry.com and that stuff. I've tried. I can't get farther into the U.S. I'm pretty sure that none of my ancestors were here. I could be wrong, but I don't think any of my ancestors were here before slavery was abolished. So her saying that because I'm white, my ancestors owned slaves, that's so disheartening to me. I can't fathom that. I can't fathom that mentality. That's like a hard thing to grasp when you wanna have this talk about injustice when you view all people the same, that have the same pigmentation in their skin. That's part of the problem. I'm not saying that that's the only problem. I'm not saying that whatever, but that is part of it. But it's hatred that people have that needs to be fixed. And how do you do that? I've had this discussion with multiple people, and I was asked by a buddy's wife what I propose. What do I think should happen? What changes do I think should be made? And I didn't have an answer when she asked me, and I don't know if I have the answer now. I'm just one person, but I agree that people should all be treated the same. That's how I am. I treat you according to how you treat me and how you treat others and how you do whatever it is that we're doing together that may cause me to have an interaction with you. So that being said, she challenged me, to think of what I would want to do, what I think should be done. So I've come up with this. I said earlier that, I don't go to church much. I do talk to God every single day. Every day. Whether it be just in my mind, whether it be praying for family or friends or things that are wrong. I've prayed every day this week for those who have this hatred in their heart, that they may find a way to love one another again, and not judge somebody by their appearance. Hang on. Sorry, I was talking. I'm thirsty. So here's my challenge for everybody. I challenge you, as I just posted on Facebook the other day, to kneel with me on Sunday in a pew. Not in front of the world, not to bring attention to myself, but to give glory to God, that he may help us find a way to change those who have hatred in their heart. That is what I've come up with. So, it's my buddy's wife who asked me what I would do, or what I think. Because like I said, I don't want to call names. I don't want to put anybody on spotlight, even though it's not a bad thing. She's all for equality. We may have different views on some politics, but as far as a life affirming view like this one, we are on the same page. This is my challenge for everybody. Pray. Because that's the only way you're going to change somebody else, is if God can intervene. You may not believe in God. You may believe in different entities. You may be non-religious. But this country was created on the love for God. That's why you have in God we trust on our money. That's why God is mentioned in so many places. That's why there are so many churches everywhere. Everywhere there's a church, because God is ever present in our hearts. It's those that live without God in their heart that we need to reach. And whatever your God may be, mine is Jesus Christ. But that's what we need. We need more love to find these people. So that's my challenge. Love the person next to you. Respect the person next to you and what they believe. It may not be what you believe, but respect them. Kneeling for our national anthem does not respect your neighbor. Just love everybody and pray. God bless.